we'll go to action plan. What we mean by action plan is really concrete step to move towards your dream. That we want to create a space for that today, to help you do that. But we'd like to bring in the space before we go into steps, the vision, and would like to start with bringing Marshall's dream into the room, and just to remind ourselves of this lineage we come from. And just a little bit, I'd like to hear a little bit of those people who were in presence of Marshall and heard his dream, shared his dream. What was this dream that Marshall shared? And really I'm opening...
So to me, there's his vision, that the empathy vision is the first one that comes. How radical of a social change it is to live from empathy rather than parts. So to me that's living from presence rather than parts, or living from the parts that are conditioned to living and just being able to be in presence with each other. Like, that's already like hugely radical. So his vision was a lot about that. There's tons of offshoots, there's a big forest of vision. But I'd say the main tree, like the sequoia in the middle, is empathy, and how that affects our lives, our beings, our systems, and the direct experience he had embodied of that in his body, of being with warring tribes in Africa, how that lived in him, how it blew him away, how it was like marvelous and awesome for him to see people that were killing each other weeks before, killing each other in their tribes. Just hearing a few needs kind of like start to shift. So that was really his deep gut experience of how empathy changes the world, was to me the central embodiment experience of being with Marshall.
Marshall's dream from that radical place of empathy changing everything that Gina so well just said, had this dream of how we would relate to each other and expand our capacity to hold more life-serving purpose together. Connect to that desire to serve life in us and in others just as much. That we would be able to process stuff that it comes up. When it starts scratching, we could slow down and use that amazing tool and start moving things differently, more fully, with more awareness. And this powerhouse desire to serve life, all of life, as I can choose to pay attention to it and notice it and let myself be touched by it. All of life. And so each other. And each other in a much grander scheme. All the others I don't see. How is their life being served? Also by what we're doing, what I'm doing within myself, with you, with us on a grander scheme. How do we serve life together?
Something that's alive for me when I remember Marshall versus social change was, I was like, okay, cool. You give empathy to people, people who are hurt, people who are in positions where they're vulnerable and weak, but somewhere inside me I was like, but what do you do with all these really powerful people who are just have no consciousness and just abusing of the whole planet and when he was just speaking about that, and just to see how he had the same exact attitude towards those people, which were my biggest enemy demon images that I could have, which was like, they just want to belong to their family and the traditions, and they need self-empowerment, and I was like, that touched me so much, because I was, there's no way that I can even imagine or hope influence any kind of change if I can't have empathy for those people that I think are doing the most damage to the planet as well. And that's where I was like, this guy's for real, I didn't notice, but it was like I was trying to see, like, he's going to fall in my little trap. Like, is he going to jackal these guys like I am? Because there's no doubt that they're really bad, And no, he wouldn't. He was just like, he's thought it all the way through. He even wants to work with Rockefellers. And And really see how, just open to seeing the humanness in them and connecting to that, having ultimate faith that that is the way to go. That was very inspiring to me.
I had been doing a bunch of Buddhist meditation for a number of years, and the Diamond Approach, and I'm really into this being who you really are thing, and this guy was doing it with my life, with the lives of the people right in front of me, and it just blew me away. It really did. That all this stuff we talk about and that we want to be, which is so real, and I taste it and I know presence, but to have it show up in the moments and the conflicts and the realities of life, and his teaching was just about that all day long, was different people and the realities. It just really moved me. I remember calling somebody in the evening and telling them, I think, I'm just in the presence of how this really works. Something just so real about it.
I might have even shared this before, I don't remember, but the part about when he said something about if anyone in the world is hungry, then, my need for nourishment isn't met. That sense of the who is the me, who is the I, it's so big. It's just the radical interdependence that we really are all one. And to remember that, and that this is a way to remember we're really all one. That's what hooked me that moment.
Being with Marshall has healed me so much pain from not understanding why I was in so much reaction all my life in the structure of domination. And the laughter is where I really want to honor how much this guy, I felt like, man, for the first time somebody is teaching not only the most important thing in the world, but in a way that is so much fun for me to learn, that I really want to honor that.
My biggest memories of him and connecting with his vision actually come from his songs. His songs always kind of reflected his vision. And there's one that came to mind this morning where he talked about how his Jewish grandmother taught him what Jesus had to say. And I think that was his vision, to be able to see people the way his grandmother did. And and I know that part of that vision involves consciousness, being conscious. The earliest memories I have, that first interaction, that very first retreat was my joking around, because I like to make jokes and do things, and he just stopping me at one point and just checking in. What's my intent? What's going on in me? Why am I doing that? And it's because I was uncomfortable with the intensity of how vulnerable things were getting, and I would break. But to have him stop and have me check on that. And there's this constant reminder, whether it's in social situations, when he's bored, he wants to say so. Yeah. And say, what's going on? I really want to have a deeper connection. So it's that taking responsibility for this beautiful connected life, staying connected with life itself, being alive. So I think his vision really was about waking up.